Welcome, everybody, to MMA News Daily. All right, so if you haven't noticed, I posted a video. This is the very first video. It's a brand new channel. We're going to talk all things MMA. And I posted a video yesterday. It was the first one that I posted just to kind of get my feet wet here on this channel. I have other channels that I deal with, but this has been a passion of mine for a long time. So it's something that I'd like to dive into. And I hope you enjoy it and you come along for the ride. Okay, so let me pull up the card here for you. So these are the prelims, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go fight by fight. And there's a few people in here that I don't know who they are. So I'm going to tell you that right up front. But for the most part, I'm pretty in tune to all things UFC. So now the Max Roskoff fight versus Austin Hubbard. I don't know who this Max is. So I can't speak a whole lot on that, but Austin Hubbard, I've seen him fight several times, and he's a good fighter. Seems to be primarily a stand-up guy, but he's also I know he's good on the ground. So he is a slight underdog in this. So only because he's the only thing I know about this fight, I'm going to go ahead and pick him on that. And then the next fight up, we have Roxanne Modafferi and Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy is another one of those that, and Roxanne have been around for a little while. And this is another pick'em fight. Now, Roxanne, she's come from some other promotions, and she's pretty good. She's a little long in the tooth, but that's okay, and that's indicative of her record. Her record is 24-17. That's a lot of fights. Obviously, few of those are UFC fights, but nevertheless, I'm going to take Lauren Murphy because Lauren Murphy is a bit of an up-and-comer. And, we've seen this a million times play out, right? Where these up-and-comers, they meet these gatekeepers, if you will. And more times than not, we see that, generally speaking, it's the up-and-comer that ends up taking that fight. Not always, but generally speaking. Frank Camacho versus Justin James. I don't know who Justin James is. But apparently he's an up-and-comer. He's a plus 275 underdog in this, where Frank Camacho is a minus 335. Now, this is most likely another one of those fights as I described between Lauren and Roxanne. So I'm guessing we have a new and up-and-comer versus a gatekeeper. And I got to tell you, that's a lot of points, man. Minus 335, that's a lot of points. So we're going to go against it, what we did last time, which was give it to the up-and-comer. And we're going to take Camacho in this one. I know Camacho is a great fighter, and he is long in the tooth as well, but he's just a solid all-around mixed martial artist. So let's go with Camacho on that, and then that brings us to Jillian Robertson versus Courtney Casey. Yesterday I posted the video. Courtney Casey, watch her arms as she's being weighted, because of what happened with Jessica I last week with the accusations of her tugging on the towel. We know what happened with DC, right? But because of that, I believe they made her put her arms up in the air during the weigh-in. However, watch her arms. They kind of, towards the very end, they kind of make their way over the hoop, which means, and if you notice, it took the guy a long time to be able to get her weight. I'm just saying. But I digress. Courtney Casey she's a good fighter, and she's had some really, really tough fights. especially because she's still early on in her career. So it's a pick 'em fight. It's Courtney Casey is I take that back. It's a pick 'em fight. Minus 115 versus minus 105. That's a straight up pick 'em. So we're going to go with Jillian Robertson on this one. And the reason being is because a lot of times when, especially with women, when they miss weight, they tend to be much more depleted than the people that make weight easily. And that's my sole purpose on picking that fight. Marc Andre versus Oscar Piechota. It's another pick'em. It's minus 115, minus 105. No, Marc Andre, I'm very familiar with. I don't know who this Oscar is, but Marc Andre is a beast. He's a beast. Very, very good shape. He's got a pretty good gas tank. Good all-around mixed martial artist as well. We're going to go with Marc Andre on that one. Then we have Tecia Torres on the same card with Raquel Pennington. Very cool. All right, so Tecia Torres versus Brianna Van Buren. Listen, Brianna Van Buren first of all, she's an up-and-comer. And Tecia Torres has been around a little while. But I got to go with Brianna Van Buren on this one. She's too strong. Tecia Torres is not an aggressive fighter, and I just don't see it. Yeah, we're gonna go with Brianna Van Buren on this. This next one, I am so excited. I am stoked for this one. Clay Guida, Captain Caveman, versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green listen, he's the favorite in this fight. He's a minus 260. He's been around a long time. Very, very good fighter. He's a striker, but he's good on the ground. But Clay Guida, Clay Guida's been around for a long time. Even though Bobby Green is a heavy favorite in this one, I'm gonna go with Clay Guida, and I tell you why. Clay Guida is he's just an animal in there. He looks like an animal. Well, that's not nice to say, but he looks pretty crazy, right? He's got the long hair, kind of the caveman look, But so he is got a gas tank for days. He's just relentless. He never ever stops. That motor, once they announce the fight, they come together, I promise you, it's going to be a very, very enjoyable fight, and Clay Guida will never run out of gas. And that is my sole purpose of going with Clay Guida. All right, so next we have the main card, which the first card on that is Jim Miller versus Roosevelt Roberts. Jim Miller, clearly a gatekeeper these days. He's an OG, deserves all the respect in the world. But Roosevelt Roberts is a serious up-and-comer, and he's 10-1, and deservedly so. If you look at his fights, he's just running through people. The one exception that I will say is, because Jim Miller's so good wrestling, the one exception that I will say is that if Jim Miller can somehow steal the first round, maybe take him to the ground, grind him out a little bit, get top control, win the round. I think that it could make Roosevelt Roberts maybe panic a little bit. And then maybe Jim Miller could catch him. I will say, Jim Miller, these days when he gets caught, he usually goes down. So we're going to go with Roosevelt Roberts on that one. But it's not a great pick. I mean, he's a minus 260 favorite. So next we have Bilal Muhammad versus Lyman Good. This is going to be a great fight. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this fight, and it's just about a pick'em fight. A lot of people though are taking Lyman Good, and I'm not. I'm taking Bilal Muhammad. We know the story. Well, a lot of us know the story about his dad, and the fact that during the rioting and whatnot, people looted the hell out of his place. He had like a cellular phone type shop there in Chicago, and it got just ransacked. And it's a sad story. I think Bilal Muhammad's going to take some of that into the cage with him, which you have to be careful of, right? But he's such a good dude. And I don't know if I'm picking him because I'm rooting for him, but I am. I'm rooting for the guy. So next up, Raquel Pennington versus Marion Renault. This is another one people might be sleeping on, but Marion Renault is going to win this fight. She's going to win this fight. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Rocky is, she hasn't been around forever, but she's becoming a bit of a gatekeeper. She's in that spot right now where she could become one. She's not one yet, but she's getting there. So she's got to be careful. Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this card, to be honest with you, because this fight here, Shane Burgos and Josh Emmett, this one could be a banger. Everybody is taking Shane Burgos. Everybody. This fight started out with Josh Emmett as a slight favorite less than a week ago. Shane Burgos is now a minus 160 favorite, which means all the money's going on him. I'm going against the grain on this one again. Josh Emmett. I have Josh Emmett winning. Late second round, early third round knockout. I'll call it. Curtis Blades versus Alexander Volkov. Curtis Blades could go in there and absolutely murk Volkov. He could. And that's what I'm picking. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting probably a second round knockout. Could be late first round. With that said, if it goes to a decision, I'm going Volkov. So I know that's really crappy. I know I'm not allowed to do it that way, but that's the way I'm doing it. Period. So there you have it. There is UFC ESPN Fight Night 3. I believe that is I don't know why they changed that like that. They should have just kept going on with the original numbers. But yeah, I'm looking very, very forward to this fight card. And I got to tell you, man, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this card. I think there's going to be some real bangers in there. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Have a great weekend. Peace.